Hello, everyone. Welcome to Happy Health Hour podcast that we conduct every week, discussing various healthcare concerns, geopolitical, geoeconomic, all kinds of things that come into the field of health and the complex ramifications. Today, of course, we have Dr. M, not Dr. N, Dr. M. Sorry.
Excuse me.
We have Dr. M to discuss a subject that is quite human. It is probably as ancient as humanity itself. And we will go into the historic, anthropologic, literary roots in it as we discuss it. But right now, the topic that we need to bring out as a healthcare issue is alcohol. So, Dr. M, what is alcohol and how do you see it as a physician, practitioner, naturalist, holistic healer after 35, 40 years of taking care of patients?
What do I see it as? Thank you. Alcohol has many definitions, really, but alcohol itself, as we know it, is really a drug. It is something that people use and use on a daily basis. Unfortunately. What we know as alcohol is what is ethanol. That is the chemical name for it. And this is something that has been used probably for thousands of years. Either as a medicinal or as a something that takes one out of reality. And thousands of years ago, it was used medicinally. It came from fermentation of grains and fruits. And the longer you ferment something, and then you distill the content, and you turn it into something that really can alter the body. So, alcohol is something, as I said, something of a drug. It is altering. It can alter your brain function. And every other function thereafter. It is not something that we should take lightly, but in the society that we live in, it has become a very socially accepted product consumption. And just like smoking and just like taking in minor pain, so-called mild or minor pain medications, over-the-counter things that people just put in their mouths just to alleviate pain. So again, coming to the medicinal use of it, people use alcohol as something that sort of takes them out of pain, takes them away from things, disassociates your brain from everyday common life, which could be painful. But it is, in fact, it is a drug. And I have to caution people when they use it, any amount of it.
So, when you say it is a drug, we do have drugs that are available in natural form, and we use them even in holistic healing. And as you know, there are different herbs and plants and even minerals, all the things available in nature, in food, we use them for healing. And I, with my vast experience of watching Discovery Channel, I've seen that even animals love fruit that are fermenting, and they enjoy it. So wouldn't that be part of if taken in a natural, holistic way, would that be acceptable?
Well, again, it's the crossover from fermentation to alcohol. So you have to kind of get down to the nitty-gritty, and the chemistry of it is not something that we're really going to go over in this little podcast. So alcohol, as it's used in things like your natural substances, or if it's used in medicinally, again, it is not something medicinally that we generally ingest for the most part. If you take it in something that is preserved with a grain alcohol, okay, so sometimes you'll see that on bottles, like it has some bit of alcohol in it. That is a very, very small amount, and it is generally acceptable to use that amount, but it is not something that is going to inebriate anyone, and it generally doesn't have any negative impact because of the amount that's used, and it is overpowered by the other contents of the products. So if it's an herb, it's a plant of some sort or a mixture of, they use a very, very small amount in order to hold it in place so that it doesn't deteriorate and break down. So there are medicinal uses. Again, that kind is not what we're talking about when you talk about alcohol that is imbibed by the average person taking a drink because they like the way they feel, or they like it with their meal, or they're on a social, into social things. Animals will be eating things that generally are non-alcoholic. Okay, so there's no distillation that's going on in nature. Okay, humans distill and turn alcohol into spirits. That's an old term that's been used, the spiritual application, or that verbiage that, it kind of really brings you up and, has you feeling really high or feeling rather low. It just takes you away from the norm. So animals will eat things that are generally not really broken down and fermented so much so. So they're generally eating foods that are not fermented, and there's no real heavy alcohol in what animals eat.
Okay. So I'm presuming you're talking about all the various ramifications and health concerns that come with alcohol, not just
Yes.
the health, but also economic, social, cultural. And it's been actually a surprise to realize that almost 40 to 50% of our population, at least where we live, has a problem with alcohol use, what we call alcohol use disorder. And they don't realize it. We have, even in our golf clubs and different um, associations, happy hour, although we have our own happy hour, happy health hour, but
No
their happy
alcohol.
hour, yeah, I think we need to start with a drink or two, some single malt next time. At least kombucha, if that's acceptable. But 1 o'clock, people start, or even earlier, they start having wine, and they have 5, 6, 7 drinks of wine in that little 4 or 5 hour duration when they're playing golf or doing other activities, or just having fun in their club, and they don't realize what a significant amount they are imbibing. What do you think is the amount you would prescribe, pun intended, for as a normal intake of alcohol every day? And please be a little gentle here with us.
I'm not going to be so gentle here, my friend. No. My prescription for alcohol a day is basically 0. Considering everything that it will do to the body in short term, long term, if somebody takes a little drink and then doesn't drink for another 10 years, okay, that's not really going to do much damage. But considering the fact that every bit of alcohol has to be processed, and most people don't know this, they don't know all of the steps that go on in the biochemistry of, your intake and what happens to it. So about 20% of that alcohol, say out of 100%, 20% gets absorbed right into the stomach and then right into the brain. And that brain is permeated. I mean, it just gets in there. There's a blood-brain barrier, but the molecules are so small and so easily penetrable into the brain barrier. So it gets there. It gets there pretty quickly, and that's not understood. So the rest of it, the 80% that goes on, then goes through the whole tract and everything else, And it's hanging around. It's got to be broken down by the liver. And the liver gives off some nasty things like acetaldehyde, which is kind of like a formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is not a thing that people are happy when they hear, but the form of acetaldehyde is like formaldehyde, so it's toxic, and the liver has to detoxify that.
Right.
Any
But
amount that you take in, it's got that acetaldehyde that's going to happen in one of those steps,
all
and
right.
that has effects on the body. That is like a toxin. So there really is no benefit. The thing that people put in their bodies, it makes them feel lighter. It kind of depresses the whole central nervous system. You start to slur your speech. You start to feel like, a little warmth and this and that. And, depending on the amount and the percentage of alcohol in the drink, it will affect you. So there are so-called standard units, which we can get into, but the alcohol effect could be mild, moderate, or severe, depending on how much is in each one, how much percentage of alcohol is in the drink. Like you could mix an alcohol with water and you can dilute it, but you can have straight hard alcohol, which is very, very potent, and within minutes that can affect one's speech. It can affect your reflexes. You don't have good reflexes, hence we don't drive after we drink, because you will not be able to figure the road out very well, and accidents happen all the time. And adolescents and young teenagers are classic for getting into accidents, and adults, of course. But if we can put off the use of alcohol for the longest time and not have youth drink, which they do considerably in this day and age, we could avoid a lot of traumas and deaths.
So, okay, wine is alcohol is not recommended by you, which I understand. What about wine, which is not alcohol?
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it
That's what
is.
my patients tell me, that I only drink beer. I don't drink alcohol, and I'm very
Yeah,
simple.
yeah. So beer, wine, vodka, gin, rum, they're all alcohol, and they have their own percentages of the alcohol that's considered strong in them. So you have a lighter percentage in a beer, but if you keep drinking, if you drink like 4 or 5 beers, you're going to get the equivalent of wine, of a basic glass of wine, like 6 ounces of wine. And then if you have a 1.5 ounces of something, that's the equivalent of taking like 5 or 6 beers. So there's a certain percentage of alcohol in these different drinks. Wine, it does have a considerable amount. And, when you start taking that in, you can bet that you're going to have the effects, which I had just mentioned. And, and those effects taken, day after day, which a lot of people do. They go and they have their wine every day. I think right now, the standard is, 1 drink for a woman and 2 drinks for 2 drinks of wine for a man, or the equivalent, in another type of alcohol. But these long term are going to really cause a problem. I mean, if you do it once in a blue moon, um, that's different than taking it every day, because there are long term effects. And one of them is one of the biggest problems we have right now, and that's dementia. And that's
Yeah.
not a pretty word.
So, okay, so I understand that the damages from the alcohol, but what about what we hear is that a little alcohol is good for your health. It relaxes you. It takes away all your inhibitions, and its anthocyanins in the wine are very good for you. They are antioxidants, and they will protect you from accidents. What about
Right.
all those? What about uh, the we are in the culture that I come from, which is the Italian culture. We recommend a little wine in the afternoon before our siesta. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I'm from the Indian culture. Okay.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I can't say that even coming from these cultures where wine and spirits became the thing to do way back when, and because of what you said, how they relax and they make you feel good and they make you feel good. Not everything that comes into the body that relaxes you and makes you feel good, is truly good. I'm talking about clinical health effects that will take you to the next level. So I'm, again, I'm what they call a teetotaler. I'm absent from alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. And the people who do, they take those risks with them. They basically don't know the risks that they're taking. Many people don't. Look at the statistics. I mean, 60 to 70% of the population is imbibing in alcohol on a fairly regular basis. And what do we have? Look at the chronic illnesses that we have every single day, where you and I are seeing these conditions every day. And people don't put that in as a factor. It's not a factor. No, it's something good for you. That's where the medical profession has definitely really done the populations at large a disservice everywhere. I don't care if it's here, Italy, India, China, anywhere in this world. There is the promotion of this as if it's something really valuable to our health, but is it? And is it valuable to the medical profession itself versus to the population, the health of the population? So I'm looking at it from that point. I'm concerned about the health of myself, my family, you, our friends, everyone. And when the medical profession says it's okay, well, I beg to differ. I have done my homework. I know what's going on here, looking at studies from everywhere. There is no benefit when you really come down to it. So when you take alcohol of any sort, you're pretty much taking a risk. It's just like putting a cigarette in your mouth or taking things that don't really belong.
Hmm.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
Now, we also not only see the use or abuse of alcohol in our regular population. The painful part is seeing the underage,
Yes.
our society,
Yes.
young people imbibing 10, 12 drinks. Then it's almost like a contest. And we
Yes.
see that in the sororities, the fraternities, 10 shots, um, one go. And obviously, those are extremely dangerous. Pregnant
Yes.
women
Yes.
imbibing alcohol. And there, obviously, there is no disagreement from my side that there should be no alcohol. Um, but see, the issue is if we suppress the youth and we don't allow themselves to be open to it, then it becomes kind of a reaction, right? And I know when I was growing up, my father once sat me down and my brother, and we said, okay, we were traveling somewhere, and he said, let's have something, let's have lunch together. And my brother ordered some fish, and then he ordered a big bottle of beer. We used to have Kingfisher, and he opened it up, and suddenly, I'm sitting with my own father, and he said, okay, you want to have whatever you want to have it. There's no problem. So, uh, what do you say about it? Just after that, the hang up that I had, that I had to sneak somewhere and have some alcohol, that kind of just is gone. I don't have to. I can sit in my house and have a little drink of beer or wine without trying to hide and sneak it somewhere and try to imbibe hurriedly, and the issue about suppression and repression goes away. What do you think about that? Should we be open with our children about it? If you want to imbibe, let's do it. If you have to imbibe, shouldn't do it in a responsible way, And if you have it, don't drive. These are very important concerns. No?
All right. Yeah. Good. These are very good points. And yeah, you bring up something that that should really have been part of the education of our societies, long ago. Instead of just having it all there available to adults, and then children watching their parents. Um, again, knowing the hazards and having them brought out. Maybe they didn't know the hazards 300-400 years ago, but I don't think that's true. I mean, watching what happened to people, how people were imbibing and becoming seriously impaired. When you're a parent, you should know these facts. The facts that, alcohol, caffeine, smoking, so on. They're not health practices. They're non-health practices. And, so if we're okay with it, we'll say to our kids, okay, have some. And, if you do it in that fashion, like your papa did, let's say it's just a little bit more refined. It's more diplomatic. Perhaps it's got that flavor of, I care and I want you to know that it's okay if you do it with me. It's kind of, what I look at it as taking a joint, and not that I have I'm not going to bring up marijuana, as a subject here, but taking that and sharing it with your child. Say, here, you can take some with me. That's to me, that's not impressing the right, the right of it. This is not what we want to impress on our children. So I think that if we know the dangers, we don't engage in it, and we don't really practice it around our children and tell them that it is beneficial to have other beverages and other things. The problem really, Dr. P, is society and government making the allowance for it, allowing this to happen and telling the population at large, it's okay. So parents around the world, it's okay. You can teach your child how to drink and it's okay. I
See,
have, yeah, a problem with
see,
that.
human nature trumps it all. If you remember the 1920s, 1930s, there
Yes,
was a time when alcohol was completely banned in certain areas of the country. And yet, what happened? What came out of it? Didn't
yes,
really take care of it, rather, take care of the issue of alcoholism, but rather
yes.
almost spawned another illegal activity in
Sure.
which, people of my uh,
Prohibition.
background were involved,
Yeah,
and a lot of bootlegging and things
bootlegging.
things things like that happened. I'm an expert in it because I've watched a lot of movies on it. So how do you there is a human tendency to have fun, to have to relax, to
Sure.
chill with friends,
Hmm.
and then a human tendency to lose control and go into a path that is completely harmful, not only to oneself but to the community. And what would be the solution? How would you put a blanket control? I think the key would be education and more consciousness, is it not?
You're absolutely right. There's, we really need a reset. We need a whole reset on this. Who's going to suffer? Perhaps the alcohol industry, and I think we need to redirect things in again, using consciousness, using our love for life and a respect for the human body, our humanity. If we're going to just keep promoting and allowing this to go on and on and on, we're not really headed for the best that humans can achieve. You know, People in the past have used various little substances, whether it's LSD, acid, and other hallucinogens and so forth, and became creative. And we all know
Right.
this.
Tune
And
in. What was that? Tune in and drop out. Right? Remember that
yeah,
that 60s drop some acid and. But so let's go back. Can we not use like the ancient cultures have used different uh, plants or derivatives for a higher consciousness to get that break not only from reality but to find an avenue and know there is something else. Like even ancient, Mexicans, if they used to use the mushrooms, and of course, if we go right back to the Vedas,
mhm,
which where they talk about soma, although soma is not necessarily an external drink, but it is the bliss that comes out of within one's own body that is generated when you practice certain lines of austerity or discipline or
right.
self mastery. But what do you think about the mystical aspects of these drinks and their ability to launch us into a higher consciousness? You're not against higher consciousness, I hope.
No, 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 not against at all. No, what what they've done in these societies, the Native Americans using certain substances that would come from the mushroom. These things were used ritualistically and for these type of states of mind that they would look to reach, but it was done very carefully, strategically, and it was done with respect. It's not like everybody just said, "Hey, let's have a party and let's all just get high." I mean, there were certain rules to the game, and again, if that is something that I've seen, observed, but it's not that I'm promoting that. But if it's something that people want to do for the state of mysticism and so forth, it is an avenue, but it's an avenue taking your risks. Okay, so there's always a risk, and the risks I don't know that they're worth taking for an average person. So we're talking about average people now. We're talking about mystics and people who want to go to a higher level of consciousness and are engaged in very deep meditation. And those who are engaged in deep meditation, they don't need these substances, as you just said. The energy channels and so forth. This is all stuff that doesn't require these substances. So the use of these substances are have been and should be done very strategically, carefully, and under guidance of people who know. Like you had the shaman and the doctors who knew how it affected you. So to know this and to impart the knowledge of it on your group, your family, let them know this is not really for everyone to take and use like this. And of course, as you said, the human nature is to want to you want to experiment. It's just our tendency to want to touch it, feel it, test drive it, and again, it's out of control. That's
So,
the problem.
so the moment you tell the child not to have something,
Yes.
like they're going to want it, right? You
Yes.
you can't have this, then I'm going to want it. So I think a kind of one is understanding, a responsibility, education. A society has to be, of course, a more mature and
Yes.
healthier society to be able to let go of it. It's a complex question, but we know as physicians what alcohol can do to your body. It can affect the mind, obviously, as you pointed out, the dementia. It can also affect the heart. It can cause
Yes.
cardiomyopathy. It can affect your liver, of course, cirrhosis and liver failure. It can affect your nerves. You have neuropathy, pancreas, pancreatitis. Once you develop pancreatitis, that can be a lifelong condition of severe disability and pain. And obviously, we do not want anyone to have it. The only thing I mean, I hear you. I understand. Obviously, we want to try to avoid alcohol, but if our society is not ready for it, then we should be able to at least have healthy discussions and make people aware that if they have to have alcohol, maybe restrict themselves, have a little bit, not go crazy, And if you use it, then use it maybe like the ancient societies in a very small amount, and use it as part of a personal growth, and maybe even a sharing with each other, like the ancient Native Americans and Indians did with, and all societies have done it. Is that a reasonable approach?
Yeah, all due respect, it's reasonable. And, we do have to, we just take all things into consideration,
Yeah.
be respectful. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of people who are interested in this, who are interested. We have to have interested health providers, people who can really educate, definitely, and have people come to a new understanding or a better understanding, because those years that have gone by, they're done, and too many people are just conditioned. So now we have to really have a renaissance, a new approach, and I know that you'd be all for it. A new approach to how to, really how to take these things seriously, more seriously, and to enjoy ourselves and have fun. Yes, we should be recreating and having fun every day. But but does it mean taking in a substance that will affect the body structurally, chemically? Do you need to have all these side effects? The only side effects I want to have from fun is to feel fabulous and for it to be a health enhancement.
Yes.
We don't need this drug.
Well, I appreciate your point, and I think we should um, again remember that the whole industry has been taken
Yes.
over by certain commercial interests. So we need to be aware of those subtle messages that are coming to help us imbibe. The other messages that alcohol is something that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Although I must say that more responsible uh, educational approaches we do see in the society to reduce the intake, and maybe not use drink. If you drink, then don't drive. But it is a big problem, and I agree with you. Almost probably 40 to 50% of our population, at least my patient population, has an alcohol problem, and this overlaps with mental health issues, psychological issues. Somewhere we have to find a resolution to this challenge. We're coming to the end of our happy hour, uh, and without any drinks, unfortunately, except tea and your kombucha tea. But I'm happy that you're having some kombucha, so at least I have some hope that I can have a little fun with my drink, and feel a little touch of the spirit, pun intended. But we have to come to bring our session to a close.
Sure.
It was very educational to hear all this from you, and sometimes as we physicians realize the challenges that our patients face, we have to realize that there are subtle psychological issues that our patients use the alcohol to resolve. Childhood trauma, PTSD, memories, old injuries, deep pain, psychological pain. And if we
Hmm.
can help our patients resolve it, then maybe that'll help them get out of the trap they find themselves in.
May
Today
I?
we missed Navtej, unfortunately, because he had to go and have a drink, so he was not available. And then Linda Benson, Nurse Linda, is not available either, and Dalton Benson, another of our physicians and physician leaders, is not available. But it was the two of us could. I think we had a reasonable discussion, even though we disagree. But I hope you will allow some single malt once in a while, because single malt is not alcohol, as they say on the bottle. The bottle says this is not alcohol. This is single malt. So I think you
So
will
may
allow.
I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
We have to be role models, the best role models.
Yes.
practice what
Yes.
they preach, and
Yes.
but if you're practicing something that you shouldn't really be doing, you really need to reevaluate what you are practicing, and then you can preach. You
That's
have
correct.
you definitely have to check that.
I agree. I agree. Maybe I need to research on kombucha, which have a higher alcohol content. So maybe I'll try those.
No, not unless it's an alcoholic beverage. It's not an alcohol.
Yes. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. We appreciate you as always. Your frank and clear cut suggestions are very helpful to bring us another perspective on health and make us approach life in a holistic way, in our health in a more integral fashion. Thank you for another session where we got an idea about how a holistic approach to life should be and how we can heal ourselves. Thank
Next
you.
session.
Next
Next
session.
session on dementia.
Okay. Dementia. Perfect leak. Where alcohol is actually a great treatment for dementia. And I think we will discuss that, how it can be used to help people who have dementia.
Oh, have a happy, healthy rest of your
Great.
day.
Have a great Thanksgiving, by the way, and
Happy
enjoy. And
Thanksgiving.
let's be grateful for what we have been given in this beautiful, beautiful world. Thank you.
Thank you.